Hello, welcome to a brief presentation on RABIT. RABIT stands for Rapid Automated Build, Install and Test. RABIT is built on a unique and compelling proposition of designing a continuous integration system with ALM capabilities, thereby achieving a powerful end-to-end delivery automation system for an application. Generally, continuous integration systems offer rich build capabilities but fall short beyond that, especially in the areas of automated deployment and test automation. A lot leaves to be desired. ALM systems, on the other hand, focus more on the presentation and views but lack the execution abilities to generate the required information. So RABIT is here to bridge those gaps. RABIT has a powerful continuous integration engine with customized build cycles, automated deployments on all the industry standard application servers like JBoss, WebSphere, with its own customized deployment solutions tuned to BPM and cloud. It has robust test automation support for all the standards like JUnit, Selenium, QTP, and performance testing frameworks like JMeter. So in addition to continuous integration capabilities, RABIT has a robot dashboard feature which demonstrates its powerful ALM capabilities. Now let's look at the RABIT homepage. This is the RABIT homepage where we have the list of projects, and this is the project view of a particular project for the last n builds, about the build quality, deployment status and test results. As you can see here, as soon as a build is triggered by a developer, real-time information is sent here about the progress of the build, about the internal steps, what are happening inside the build, so that if there is a problem upfront on a high level, the information will be available here. So when the build is successful, then the deployment agents pick up and start deploying the application. So during the deployment process, again, the real-time messages will be sent here about the various steps involved in the deployment process. Once deployment is successful, this is information about tests. How many have failed, how many have passed, the details of test results. And to know more about the details of the test results and other details about the project, we have a nice dashboard feature here, clicking on which takes us to all the information that's needed for a particular project. So let's look at the first block. This is about the test results, the test summary of the project. Here we can see the KPI where we set the thresholds for the project for failure and success rate of the tests. Then there is a nice concept brought into the tests here as platinum, gold, silver and bronze for tests, so that we can set application critical tests under platinum and ensure that these tests are always passing for every check-in that's made. If the check-in causes a break in any of the platinum tests, then the build is declared as a failure and we can quarantine the build. For details about tests, we have a view report option where we have details about failures, errors, success, and from a developer perspective, he can see the details of the failure, at what file and what line. And an innovative feature that we have brought into the test analysis is trace, where when there is a particular test case which is causing error, we try to dig deep and try to identify what line of change in the build is actually causing this test to fail. We even go down, we give the details about the author who has made the change in that source file. We also go to the extent of showing the diff of what was the line and what is it now, and which is most likely causing this particular failure. So then that's how we do exception analysis. We also have the code coverage reports, where we kind of try to list down the package level, then class level, and we try to give the code coverage about the tests, where we actually speak about the code that is covered by the tests. Then we have here trend of the test cases, test results, where we try to where when there is a dip in tests, we actually can go down and see using the trace feature as to what lines of change is causing this dip. There is also an option to see detailed change analysis of a particular build. For every build, there is a build number, and if you click on the build number, we have the list of changes done in this particular build, who has done it, at what time, how many files have been modified, how many lines are modified, and when we click on it, we get the comment that's being given at the time of commit, the list of files that got modified, list of files that got deleted and added, and in case of modifications, we try to even generate the change that has happened at the time of build. Where we try to show what is the line that is removed and what is the line that is added. A detailed change analysis will be maintained for each build, which helps in auditing purpose and helps to drill down to details about what might have caused the quality of the results to dip. Now, going back to the dashboard feature, the next part talks about the defect summary. This is another important aspect about the application progress. To determine the application progress, where we can have information about the defects, how many are blockers, how many are critical, which gives a view of the defect data for the application. And we can have a report here about it is assigned to which, it is assigned to whom, what is the status of the defect. So all the details about the defects are available at one place. Similarly, this block speaks about the project management of the application, where we know tasks issues based on priority, as well as tasks based on the type. So whether how many of new features are yet to be started, how many tasks are in progress, how many bugs are logged. So this is about details about the project management. So when we click on, say for example, task chart here, it tries to conveniently give us the details about which tasks are yet to be done, which tasks are in progress, which tasks are already done. So giving fair idea about the status of the application progress from a project management perspective. So this is for project management teams. Now this is static analysis block, which actually helps developers to write their code better. So what we do in static analysis is compare the code against the coding standards and then list out the violations. For instance, if the web application is having Java and multi-browser code, so for Java, the open source tool is PMD, which tries to validate the Java code against the Java coding standards, all organized as a set of rules. If the organization wants to change some rules, it can be done quite easily. So based on the rules, we try to validate the source code and try to list the violations, and a neat report is shown to developers as to in what file, in what line, what kind of priority violation is thrown. So which actually helps developers to understand their mistakes and start writing better quality code. Similarly, we have implemented an in-house multi-browser validation tool, which tries to validate the front-end code against the multi-browser and try to list out possible errors that can come up when the application is opened in multiple browsers. So here you can see the JS files, the type of extension and the line number and the priority, and here it is the type of event that actually can cause the script error or functionality to be not working in other browsers. So all in all, this dashboard sums up all the important departments in the all stakeholders in the application release, tries to bring information about various integral components of an application release at one place, giving details about test quality, giving details about defect data, details about the requirements, and then details about the code quality, and tries to help in streamlined release management. Now we have seen dashboard, we have seen change analysis. Another important feature in RABIT is its powerful deployments, which acts as a key differentiator. RABIT has robust deployment framework which not only supports all the standard application servers but also has its own custom deployment framework. For instance, this is a deployment configuration of a repeated BPM system like Cordys, where we have captured the information, complete information which is required to deploy Cordys application automatically on any system, all at one place. Whether it's users, teams, roles, service groups, then the DB scripts, the external services, all the things which generally are part of the deployment of this particular application are all captured at one place. So what is the advantage of this? When we have a deployment configuration like this, it makes it a lot easy to move the entire setup into, say, testing environment or a staging environment or the user acceptance system. Otherwise, doing all this repeatedly on multiple systems is painful and should be done by the seniors, and it takes a lot of time to achieve this. So that's one of the, so how can RABIT ensure that this is deployed in a easy manner? On the home page, you can see an option called promote. You can see an option called promote, wherein if a build is performing well, we can choose the type of deployment server, we can choose the IP of that, and then we can say deploy. So once you have the deployment configuration prepared, automatically a button click will take the whole application context from one system into another system and sets it up on its own. Such is the power of an automated deployment, even for a BPM solution. So with this, I will try to go for a small build where we try to summarize whatever have been discussed so far. So what does developer need to do to get acquainted with RABIT? He needs to commit his code, and once he makes his change, he just needs to say start the new build. As you can see here, the kind of customization is provided in the build is yet another powerful feature that helps developers for faster feedback. Based on his change, he can choose only a build, he can choose build and deployment, he can choose build and deployment and test of his components, or particular category like platinum, gold, particular category of test, or a particular type of test. If he's making a HTML change, he can go for a selenium test execution, or any backend change, he will prefer to run his JUnits and get confidence that his code is not having any errors and it's pretty fine. So this customized build cycle helps developers to get quick feedback on their day-to-day check-ins, and it encourages them to do more frequent check-ins, which is actually one of the fundamental principles of continuous integration. So once he chooses his build cycle, what all he needs to do is enter his details. The builds can be open for all members in the team, or there can be permission set for the build, and There you go. The build is triggered. So everything will be taken care by Rabbit now. It tries to connect to version control system, get the changes, build the changes, package the changes, deploy into the test agents, and run automated tests. So each and every step will be taken care by Rabbit once Rabbit is configured to the application. Even configuring the application is pretty easy and pretty straightforward and can be done from the web itself. So while the application is running, I'll try to show the configuration of the project. So it's pretty straightforward. We try to define what are the environments, what are the integration points for this particular application, who should be given permissions to trigger the build. Then we kind of show the build agent details, the checkout location, the artifact location, then what are the deployment agents for this particular project, then what is the schedule for this particular project, is it fixed or is it at multiple intervals, to whom should the email notification be sent, what are the various static analysis tests that can be performed on this particular project. So this is the component view where we componentize the project so that once we get the results, we can filter them per component and share it with the teams. So this is where we feed the information about tests which are platinum, which are gold to the teams, which are platinum, which are gold, silver to the teams, so that when we get the results, we can show them and filter and show them onto the dashboard. Similarly, we have the connection points with Bugzilla, Zira, TestLink here. So what all is needed is just a project level mapping and map the components of project in the source code along with the Bugzilla components, and the dashboard will automatically pick up the details and show it as and when required. So here it's as you can see here, the status messages keep throwing in as the build is in progress. As you can see here, the package created successfully. Now that the build is successful, the deployment will start. As you can see here, as soon as the build is finished, then the installation has started. As you can see here, the installation is completed and now the test execution will start. Now what you will see is a service application and cloud hosting solution for the design assurance project. You can see here the automated test execution has started. This is the Cordys page of the application. Now this application will be automatically tested now. It's choosing the organization. So to achieve this, behind the scene, we have implemented as many as 600 wrapping utils to make Selenium work with Cordys. Because Cordys has its own web toolkit, to make that compliant with Selenium, we have written a util wrapping library of 600 utils to make sure that we have end-to-end UI automation testing done for Cordys applications. So as you can see here, this is the customer request form. So the kind of sales cycle, prospect, forecasted. Then choose the product lines. Now sales engineer details are getting updated. So this is description of the project. So the request submitted successfully. Now from the sales engineer, a task is sent. It will be available with the application product manager. So all this is done automatically. The complete application end to end is tested automatically. So the task is opened. So the form is saved. Task is complete. Now what you see is a sales engineer dashboard. So essentially what we try to demonstrate here is the collection of the entire application being tested here using the util framework developed by RABIT team for completely automating the application testing developed on Cordys platform. If it is a conventional web application, it's much more easy to do with Selenium, and even straightforward. So that's a brief overview about the feature set of RABIT, the capabilities, and the impact it can create in improving the developer productivity and achieve a streamlined release management process. Thank you for listening to the demo.